Namaste, angels. This is going to be another half-hour reading for one of my Patreon subscribers and just general all-around supporter, subscriber, friend on social media, all of that. I appreciate her. She ordered healing about 2 weeks ago, and a couple of days afterwards also asked about purchasing a reading. And I thought real quick. I said probably about time, because the Patreon tier, a support that she purchased. I said, it's probably about time that I just gave you one. She said, oh yeah, so I'll take one. And I've been trying to do it ever since. It's crazy sometimes, but I think perhaps I wasn't meant to until after the healing had brought about some changes. And I haven't talked to her to see what changes might have occurred, but that's just what I'm feeling, because it's just been weird stuff. Like every time I tried to do it, something went on with YouTube, or with Movie Maker. My daughter was sick. We never get sick. All of a sudden, my daughter was sick over the weekend. It took me forever to get the last week, not this week, the collective readings up. I almost didn't. Like I posted them like in the afternoon on Sunday, which is totally unlike me. So it's just been like I just couldn't do it. And then today, boom, it was like, okay, it's Cindy's turn. So here we go. Okay. My cards aren't even in order. Like it's weird. I don't use this deck first. I'm going to use this one first. I felt and even saw actually a lot of air and fire. Even this card that I'm beginning with is air and fire. I have no idea what sign she, or her divine masculine are. I do not remember at all. And I didn't try and I didn't look because, we're just going to do it from like a fresh energy. We're going to go from that. But even with this air and fire that I'm seeing, of course, it's possible that somebody's an air sign and or fire sign. But more strongly than that per se, I've been feeling the involvement of the planet Mars, which right now will be represented by air and fire also, because Mars is currently located in Aquarius and has been for a while, was even retrograde there for a period before facing direct about 3 weeks ago. So I think Mars is, heavily involved in her life right now, or in her union. Mars, of course, the masculine planet of love, Venus's male counterpart, the planet of action, aggression, leadership, all those things, ruler of the signs of Aries and Scorpio. So, those are possibilities, particularly the Aries, or another fire sign can be involved here. And as far as air signs, yes, Aquarius could be involved, but, so could Libra and Gemini. Heaven on earth, more importantly, is about the need to let go of something that's like in the way of your something new, your blessing. Something that you're holding on to is taking up the space that your blessing needs, in order to move in order to be able to come in. Like you have to vacate the space, clear out the old thing. And opening to Trilogy of Life. Now, the old thing can be, another relationship. It can be some sort of, negative emotions, cords of attachment, energetic cords to something or someone. And we need to release that to make room for our new thing. Love. Now, love at the top. And, okay, eternal flame. So one connection at least that's meant to remain forever. And reflection. Reflection comes in handy big time when we're trying to figure out what that thing is that we need to release. We got to look back at our lives, look forward toward our goals and our dreams, what we want, and around in our present. And like, what are we holding on to that we probably shouldn't carry with us further? Or what perhaps did we leave behind before that we need to go back and get before we go any further? Love. Ooh. Woo. Okay, what was that? Aww. It was sacred union that took a flying leap. Isn't that nice? Okay, I'm happy for her. But otherwise, I had come to emergence and love. So this can be about, again, the rise and ascension of a relationship, love in general, the energy of love, right? Stepping into a higher vibration of it, which is absolutely what we all need to do, always continuing to strive to do that. And emergence always gives me the feeling, especially with all the yellow and white, right? The white light, which is connected to, Christ. Many of us believe Christ light, or anointing, if not the being, the actual energy of that level of anointing and an 8 to 10D being, right? With all that, then obviously from where one emerged was, the dark. Right? If this is all light here, where there's light, there's dark. So from where we came must be that, the darkness and the death. So this is reflective of the rebirth, right? And the rise of love, of the union. Love and expectancy. So this is something else onto which we're holding expectations, for one thing, that is blocking our blessings. It's sort of like when we're trying to control things and we need to release control to the universe. That could be when Mars is coming in handy too, and is in the picture. Because again, Mars located in Aquarius, which is the freedom-seeking zodiac. It is the one that strives to break free, but at the same time, that Aries and even Scorpio energy of Mars can be very controlling, in trying to, and even overbearing at times, right? Like that emperor, father-like, authority figure type of, I'm in charge sort of thing. And when we're talking about us versus the universe, no, we're not really. We're not in charge. We do have free will at least to an extent. So we're in charge of that, but we're not in charge of divine timing and how things come to us and when things come to us, or even whether things come to us. But to the extent that we have the, again, free will and the ability to manifest things. But if the universe is working against that, if it's not divine will, we can't even accomplish that. So we have to let go of these sort of expectations that try to dictate to the universe the hows, the whens, the whys. Love. And enchantment, which is about healing, right? And the need to surrender to what we do receive from the universe. And again, speaking of Mars and Venus, there they go. Love. And come to abundance, which for me is also representative of Venus and that mother energy, right? Mother nature, the need to connect with her and bond with her, spend time with her in order to open up the flow of abundance, and abundance in all areas, not just like, we think abundance, sometimes we think material and money, but love too. Venus is the goddess and planet of all abundance, money, love, confidence, popularity, beauty, all of that. So we need to spend some time with her, and we can see that this being here, this woman here, she's in surrender. She's nude, her eyes are closed. She's just trusting of what's happening. So that's full vulnerability, full surrender. And that's what's required of us too, in order to make this sort of thing happen. Obviously, of course, it's also representative of earth signs, meaning that she's out in nature, and potentially those air signs too that would be connected to Venus, and that would be Libra and Gemini. Overall energy, creativity, and it's more this fire, air, and also water. Most specifically, but it does not have to be, if we're talking about water, for example, Pisces, with the fish here, the water, the pool that she's standing in, that's all very Piscean, Neptunian. The moon in the tower represents the sign of Pisces as well, the moon that's behind her. But of course, so the red wings could definitely be a connection to fire signs, and even the red planet, once again, the planet Mars. Creativity, all about Venus, and not only her Earth, which is not seen much here, but her air, which is present in this picture. And then of the air signs, to go even further, more specifically Aquarius, again with this star, which represents the sign of Aquarius in the tarot, the star does, on her third eye chakra, right above it. But this card is about coming up with creative ways to help to bring about abundance to ourselves, doing things about which we're passionate to create abundance in our lives. Divine Feminine, about herself, or her higher self to her. The masculine as it relates to the feminine, himself, the union as a whole. Overall, the masculine would have the feminine do toward the union what he himself is willing to. The universe would have the two do, but you have to affirm it and, you know, commit to it yourself before it will give you that 100% support in that area. And the outcome. Divine Feminine, dreams. So this is more this Neptunian energy. And it can mean so many things. And again, we're seeing air, water, earth coming together. It's about intuition. It's about dreams in the way we think about them in the 3D sense. Again, as far as goals, things we hope to achieve, things we want to fulfill, ideas we've had that we want to bring to fruition. It's about communication while we sleep. It's about paying attention to messages that we receive in our dreams. We're keeping a pen and paper next to our bed and writing things down as soon as we wake up before we forget them, that we can revisit. And it's about no longer like allowing your life to be deferred and on hold. It's about actually beginning to pursue some of these things, maybe in creative ways. When I picked this up, also up right behind it, speaking of that and paying attention to the universe for the signs and stuff and receiving messages in our sleep, is Major Arcana card, listening. Major Arcana card. I don't know why I said that. Maybe because I was looking at the star. In the tarot, the star is a Major Arcana card. This is just an oracle card about listening, but it does bring, again, for me, telepathy, syncs, signs, messages from the universe, communication, and yes, listening, pay attention and surrender to all of these things, and the energy of the sign of Aquarius, very specifically, with the star being here. The masculine about the feminine, universal heart. And it's a card of the same colors as the one that her higher self chose for her as well. And this is about healing at amazing depth. I talked about the Christ light before, and trying to always ascend higher and higher. We can only hope to one day be, a being of 8 to 10 D vibration. But we're made in his image. So this is the extent of the healing and dreams that we have. This is dreaming to reach this point. And this is him being able to see in you that's what you're doing, that's what you're working towards. And this is also him. Oh, look at this. Speaking of healing, here come the sirens. This is also him, sort of suggesting that this is what he would like to be to you. And part of the healing. Sirens louder and louder. The masculine about himself. Expectancy. So he's the one, perhaps. Well, this doesn't mean that you don't have this control issue as well, but he is acknowledging, at least, or his higher self is at least, that he certainly does and has, you know, some things of which he needs to let go, and maybe some behaviors and ways of which he needs to let go that are blocking his own progress. So he needs this healing too. The union as a whole. Boom! Oh, I love that. I feel like when that kind of thing happens, like I really don't need to go any further because we sort of got our answers. But isn't it nice to go further? And this card matches the other two as well. You got your little color scheme there going. A lot of water, earth, air. Overall, heaven on earth is back. And isn't it funny that it's like crossing the expectancy? So again, there's an acknowledgement that there is something perhaps on both sides that needs to be released in order to allow for the new. Like this, basically, this card is saying, if you want heaven on earth, then you have to let go of hell, right? You're holding on to toxicity. You're holding on to the negative. You're holding on to something that doesn't serve your higher purpose or, you know, the higher good in general. So you are causing yourself to live in hell here, but you don't have to. There are ways for us to bring about heaven while we're here on this plane too. And one of them is to remove those things from our lives so that the universe can send us bigger and better blessings. Hence, heaven. What would the masculine have the feminine do toward the union? This is embrace. And this is very a card about healing too. And it feels like he could be asking you to help him with healing and crossing the universal heart, like Jesus the Christ, healer of the ages. Yeah, this makes me feel that even more strongly. This card is very temperance-like for me. Temperance from the traditional tarot, which represents the sign of Sagittarius. So that could have something to do with the fire too, the fire energy that I've felt since I started the reading. Sign of Sagittarius, ruled by Jupiter, the planet Jupiter, which is also connected to the fixed signs. So like fellow fire sign Leo, air sign Aquarius, water sign Scorpio, and also earth sign Taurus. All of those. But Jupiter, the planet of, you know, like globalization, expansion, karma, luck, growth. So basically in itself healing. You know, when you think about it like that. What is the masculine willing to do? Oh, love. I love this. I love this love card that he chose. And that will go a long way toward letting go of limitations and expectancy. If we move, again, step into a higher vibration of love, helps us to release the negative and the low vibe stuff that's attached maybe to ego and a need to control and pride and all that sort of thing. What would the universe have the two do that it will support them in? It wants them to work on the healing. Okay, and healing sounds. So makes even more sense now that listening was up under your other card. We got these two cards. The one, your overall energy is an angel or a female being standing in water. And this card that the universe is sending to you is a female being sitting in water. So it is about, you know, healing, cleansing, bathing, washing away some of these old toxic energies. And again, behind it also upright was listening. So taking in the advice and then actually following through on it. Actually follow through on it. it may be helpful for your masculine to have healing of his own. But you guys can certainly begin, if not also, stay on and end with, healing sounds, binaural tones, some sort of music that helps you, helps you to feel that you're getting your zen back. You're coming back into center. Guided meditation, motivational speaking, all these things are, can be healing sounds. And the outcome. Blessings. Boom, told you. You let go of the stuff that's blocking your blessings, and then the blessings are the outcome. That's what you get. We're going to keep this going and see what the universe, that was a perspective from the masculine, see what the universe has to say. We're beginning with communication, which is very, not only Aquarius, but air sign in general. So that can be brought on by, yes, Aquarius, but perhaps, also Gemini, Libra, the planet Mercury himself, which is located in Scorpio. That's another connection between the air and water right now. Venus, too, located in Scorpio. Jupiter, located in Scorpio. So all of that, communication. There's the control that somebody's wanting to have. And it could be affecting communication. It could be causing people to hold back, even if we're connecting, to hold back from what really needs to be said, because we're trying to control things and control ourselves, not actually live our truth and express our feelings and be genuine. We're trying to, hold up a facade, a veil that blocks the communication. Opening to young male. Communication. Aww. Boom. Twin flame. Communication. One more. Destiny. So basically what those cards just said to us is, basically, ultimately, regardless of what we do, again, the universe is a more powerful entity than ourselves. And what will be, will be. The part that we can affect is sort of like how long it takes, the win, in that regard. Because our free will sometimes gets us gets in our way and blocks us, limits us. Communication. Let me cut here. And family, it's a party of three. It feels like a positive party of three, though. This can be sort of like a 3 or even 10 of cups kind of card, and just being surrounded by love, surrounding yourself with love and happiness. But our overall energy is another party of 3, and this one's more 3 of fire like, and can involve some sort of love triangle even. I mean, any party of 3 can, but when 3s show up, they don't always mean that. To me, they always mean some sort of party of 3, but not necessarily a love triangle. This one is a little bit more love triangle-ish, or at least having, several suitors. You might not actively be having relationships, but having several suitors and potential options. I'll put it that way. Divine couple. Recent past, masculine higher self, near future, blocks the union, the feminine can do, the masculine can do, further advice from the universe and what it wants to help you with, but you have to affirm to do it, and the outcome. And you almost got 2. And this one is even still like sticking out in my hand, so we may look at that one too in a moment to see what it was. Well, you know what? I'm going to have to put them up like this, so I'm going to see it anyway. It's karma. It's karma. So this is, Jupiter reminding us again, yes, I am here. Yes, I am here. I am present and involved in this situation. And it could be representative of some karmic issues or circumstances through which you'll be going. Divine couple. Ooh, another party of three. Triangle partnership. This too can be connected to the need for one or both to make a choice. Again, having several options. When I picked up Dating Queen, behind it also upright is new love. So love anew, renewed between the two of you. And then that family card is also back upright. So this could be you too. Again, I was getting good vibes from this. Coming together, forming a family of your own. Right? That is destiny. Your soulmate. But guess what's behind it also? Control. So this is like indicative of the limits in the meantime. Followed by work, which has more than one meaning for me. Yes, it's like we can work on these things, put effort into the things that we want. Prayer without works is dead. All that is, as they say. But also represents the sign of Capricorn for me and the planet Saturn, which is restrictive. So this can be, together, especially one behind the other, these two indicative of, the karmic things that hold us back. The last one behind that is fun time. So this is like choosing to enjoy and appreciate life anyway, and to acknowledge the fact that we're not really stuck, regardless of perception sometimes, and what Saturn and Capricorn energy can make us feel. We're not really stuck. Recent past. Money. So this has more than one meaning too. It is connected to the earth signs for me, and of course that includes Capricorn and the restrictions that we feel sometimes because of things like money and the material. Maybe because we're trying to support, more than one family or situation. That can be, but it's also connected to value and coming to a realization of the worth of different things and our own worthiness and deservingness, and the need to build, to put, again, work and effort into building our own wealth and abundance in all areas. Near future. Past love. This too can have more than one meaning. Yes, past love can be you guys, and it can be, past love being regenerated, because we've all, if you have a soulmate, it's because you're connected at the soul level. I mean, it doesn't get much more past than that. But this can also be connected to, again, the karma and karmic issues that come up in other situations with which we have to contend and deal. That coming up for you in the near future. And I'd say that there's a good possibility that it's going to be the case, because it's here crossing the triangle. All right? Masculine's higher self. Aw, blonde female. Well, guess who the blonde female is for me in this deck? The divine feminine. So happy to see his mind there. This card too connected to fire for me. I guess similar to how in the traditional tarot, the Queen of Fire is representative of the divine feminine as well. Because she's not a blonde female, she's a redhead. So that's like fire. Further blocks to the union. Young female. And this can be an actual person. Okay, that's a possibility. But more so for me in this deck, speaking of redheads and fire, this card is connected very much for me to the energy of Sagittarius, again, which is ruled by Jupiter. Jupiter, the planet of karma and luck and, our growth and our expansion. So it's sort of like, again, we're not in complete control. We're in control to an extent and of stuff because we have, free will. But if Jupiter wants us to have to work through a situation, then we're going to have to work through a situation, if that's based on our karma. And now we have this, crossing the past love as well. Actually, today also, the day on which I'm doing this reading, October 12th, the morning of the 12th, the moon enters Sagittarius too. So today might be more important in one way or another to your union than just the fact that it's the day on which I'm doing the reading, in connection with Jupiter and or Sagittarius, or the other signs to which Jupiter is connected. Again, those are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio, where Jupiter is currently located. What the feminine can do, long distance, maybe upon, like in the ball in your court, to, how you say, close the gap a little bit between you. Also, this card, sort of three of, well, it's kind of like a combination of like the three of Pentacles and the three of fire. But it can be about the need for some patience and having to wait for your ships to come in, but also I think to take action, and maybe a little bit of aggression, like the way these waters look, and pursuit. More so, getting back again with that, like the prayer without works is dead. Like we have to actually do stuff too. And then once we do and plant seeds, then we need some patience, to wait for them to grow so that we can sow them. That sort of thing, if that makes sense. And it's sitting here underneath this triangle. So it's like a 3 here, and then there's that 3 here also. Definitely think that there's a connection with those. And that the purpose is, yes, more than one thing. One, for you to be active, an active participant in closing that gap, but also that some patience may be required, for the dust to settle, as they say. And what the masculine can do, he's just like, this is like the second card of this type that he's gotten. His just been about, just getting into that space of love and positivity, which will help us, or him, specifically in this case, to manifest the same in return, which is awesome. What the universe would have the 2 do, this is the freedom seeking. See? Told ya. Isn't this the first thing I said before I even laid any cards? That I felt Mars, and more specifically Mars and Aquarius, seeking freedom, was trying to, turn up here. Here's the action that needs to be taken. That's Mars too, aggression. Here's the passion. Fire signs are all about passion. The red planet all about passion. And of course, again, the masculine planet of love. And then here's the freedom seeking and breaking away from limitations and restrictions, some of which are self-imposed or that we've at least allowed, right? We sort of welcomed, and it's up to us to take some initiative and at least affirm to the universe that we don't want to be bound by these things anymore, and that we'd like its help in releasing us to bring this about. And then the outcome here. Young male. I think this is him, huh? It's probably both of you. Young male and young female. Especially again with this, crossing the blonde female, which is the overall representation for me of the divine feminine. So it's like her aspects, a broader scope, and then like more directly. And then here's a couple. I think that's awesome. I think it's probably a half hour, but let's look at a couple of these. And how funny is this? That I'm beginning with Free Yourself with the Romance Angels. It's time to take back control of your life. So we just ended on that note with the other spread and the freedom, and now opening right to it. And opening to separation as well. Time apart from your partner is on the horizon. I think that this is already existent. I mean, we haven't discussed it. I haven't, but this, I'm just going by what's coming through. I think that this is more so talking about what's happening now. And opposite the Free Yourself may be more applicable to separating yourself from these other things that no longer serve you, as opposed to one another. despite what the card says in the bottom. But this one, I completely agree with. It's time to take back control of your life. And opening 2, calling in your soulmate. This is what I was talking about too, that law of attraction, the way that works. Your prayers, affirmations, and visualizations help bring you together. For yourself, and reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life. Boom. And also, when I see reconciliation and separation together, they sort of like void one another out. And it's like also a reminder that separation isn't real. It's like, it's an illusion, basically. It's something else from which we can free ourselves. It's a restriction. And lastly, true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. Free yourself. This could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. And the overall energy, once again, is passion. We've seen passion, I think, like 3 times in this reading altogether. Allow your heart and soul to sing with joy. I mean, in one deck or another. Not obviously not this one. This is the first time we're using this one. Crowning the masculine. Heart-to-heart conversations. Honestly discuss your feelings with each other. I'm sure this ties in with the communication. And even with the listening. And because that can be communication too, and telepathic. And then communication between you and the universe also. That's a conversation that needs to be had as well. And feelings being expressed there. It doesn't have, we're not always talking about communicating with one another. You know, there's the broader idea to this too that we have to consider. Masculine surrounded by, give your relationship a chance, work on your partnership. So there's that effort that also came up earlier in the reading with the energy of earth signs and practicality and being grounded and, you know, doing our part. And in his subconscious, true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. So of course, why wouldn't you want to give it a chance and work on it? Crowning the feminine, romantic feelings. Your feelings are real and worth exploring. And she is surrounded by the reconciliation. Once again, someone from your past is returning to your life. If you didn't believe it or hear it the first time. And in your subconscious, separation, time apart from your partner is on the horizon. So again, the two of them together, when they show up together, they do sort of cancel one another out, avoid this, you know, because we hold on to this sort of negative energy, and then we manifest, you know, these illusions. Perception becomes reality. So it's a reminder, no, separation isn't real. But at the same time, like I said before, I felt that for the purposes of your reading overall, separation had more than one meaning. It's also with regard to separating yourself from things that no longer serve you. Crowning. Part of that is, or that can be driven by the fact that you need to love yourself first, right? Make yourself a priority above these other things. Especially this month, the month of Heshvan, and the Jewish calendar is all about being, right? Ourselves being, not as opposed to doing, and really as opposed to doing for other people. So it's self-nurturing, this period. Your self-respect makes you more romantically attractive. At the root, finances and career. Financial issues are a factor in your love life right now. This too, probably connected to the money and the work cards that showed up. Where I did say then, you know, in some aspects it can be literal, that finances are a factor. Especially on the side of the masculine, they get very preoccupied with that. And I understand the desire to be able to provide and all these things, but you know, there's a need to go deeper. You know what I mean? At the heart of the matter, flirt. Extend your light-hearted energy to others. So this is about how do you come back together and initiate these heart-to-heart conversations? How do you put the effort, you know, as you don't show up at each other's door with the baggage, you know, travel light. basically. And you start off with a flirty and lighthearted energy, and that should get the ball rolling. Had I used these, I would have began with the Knight of Air, who's intelligent, decisive, idealistic, and tireless. Events that occur with great speed. Take time to carefully review your options so you can come up with creative solutions. The Knight of Air is representative, of course, of air signs. Libra, Aquarius, Gemini, but also Venus and Mercury are rulers, or at least Gemini and Libra. Well, both of which are Gemini's rulers. Venus is also a ruler of Libra. And when the Knight of Air shows up, there's usually a need to make a decision, and rather quickly. He can also be about communication, but more so communicating something decisive, like communicating a decision. You're on the receiving end or the giving end of some sort of judgment or something. Further advice to the masculine from the Angel Tarot. 5 of Water. Things not turning out the way you hoped. Not seeing the positive in a situation and crying over spilled milk. So the masculine needs to focus more on the fact that he's got these 2 cups rather than the fact that these 3 spilled. And then again, this can be connected to some sort of party of 3 situation through which he's going, and that may have caused in his life some pessimism, doubt, insecurity. He's going to have to move beyond, because the 5 of Water is really a card of, at least to me, it's very obnoxious, because it's tied to like not appreciating the blessings that we do have, and just worrying about what we don't. That's not an attitude of gratitude, and it doesn't serve us. It certainly it serves us toward blocking blessings, and which is what we don't want to do. Further advice to you comes from the Knight of Fire, who's passionate, adventurous, self-assured, and restless. A sudden event that needs immediate attention. Time is of the essence. Think things through carefully. So this can be triggered by the decision that needed to be made, or communication that needs to be made, indicative or indicated by the Knight of Air. This is interesting. And this brings me back to the original energy that we started with for your reading, air and fire, which I said, could be very well tied to Mars specifically. When I picked this up, also up right behind it is the 6 of Water. Memories from your history or childhood, issues regarding children and romanticizing the past. This is a soulmate card. But again, it is also connected to children and our own childhoods, and maybe things that we're still dealing with that cause 5 of Water, that make us feel less than and undeserving because it's something that we experienced that we're holding on to that we need to chuck. It could definitely be tied to that. But behind that is Major Arcana card 5, Unity, which is the Hierophant, actually. Can be about many things, so with whom and what and where we surround ourselves, like the need to make adjustments to our environment, to something that better aligns with our vibration. Definitely getting away from low vibes and moving towards something that's similar to our own vibration or higher than ours, from whom or which we can learn something, actually. Also about commitment, maybe even marriage, signing important documents, contracts. Representative of the sign of Taurus, which I've mentioned a few times already in this reading. And behind that, also upright, you got a lot of them here. The Page of Water. These are characters. When they're court cards, they tend to represent actual people. The Page of Water is intuitive, sensitive, artistic, and friendly. A new person enters your life. A relationship begins a new phase. Also heightened psychic abilities. The Page of Water is a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio maybe, or some one of those traits or attributes, making some sort of offer of love, a communication, right? Phone call, an email, a text that makes you smile. And behind that, the last upright card is Major Arcana card 13, Release or death in the tarot, which represents the sign of Scorpio and is also representative of a new phase, right? One ending and a new one beginning. Spiritual transformation. It's time to move on. Again, Scorpio, very impactful upon us all, basically, right now. With, well, yesterday the moon was there too. Today it's in Sagittarius. But with Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury all being located there right now. And with their rulers having recently, both been retrograde. Pluto faced direct last week, and again Mars a few weeks ago. I'm sorry, I put your card over there. From the Universal Love Oracle to the masculine, spiritual growth, which, is like courtesy of Jupiter. Again, that it's our expansion, our growth, having gone through these karmic situations and lessons. For you, miracles. So, like, despite that, to keep the faith, even if you're required to exercise a little bit more patience too, not to, lose your belief that miracles do come true, especially when we put some effort into the stuff. And speaking of karma and Jupiter, that's the masculine's card, karma. For you, dating, okay? And like having moved down to 2 people rather than the 3 that we saw a few places in the reading. In the moon. Maybe this could have specific meaning around the time of the next full moon, which is the 26th. I don't recall right now, but I think it's around the 26th. That might be the day. And for the masculine, similar to the heart-to-heart conversations and the need to give his relationship a chance to put some effort and work into it, this is, a very similar card. Make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. So that's his advice, that he needs to take some action too. And for you, children, your love life is being affected by children. I do feel that these can be some actual children, and we've never even discussed, I don't think, that whether or not you have any, but I do feel actual children can be involved. But this is also representative of that new phase that we're talking about, like the new start, fresh beginnings. This children card tends to represent for me. And I think that clearly indicated several times throughout this reading being what you're in store for. So enjoy. I hope that you've also enjoyed your reading, and I'll talk to you soon. Namaste.